the issues of Liberia hit the news.
What is it that we, the Liberian people, want?
The Liberian communities in the diasporas are not left out. That's why Diaspora's Talk is back on your screens on KMTV.
In fact, the United Party is not cohesive.
It is social, political, economic, and other issues affecting Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
I did not expect to even make it to Hollywood.
Join Cyrus McGee and Nathan Charles every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, live on KMTV, Facebook, and YouTube.
I want to be arrested in the midst of my people.
As they discuss the issues, blend the voices from Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
And speak the truth on what is happening.
For sponsorship, call cell numbers 612-806-5896, 816-433-3979, or better still, email us at usakmtv@gmail.com. Diaspora Talk, don't miss out. And I tell you, welcome to Diaspora Talk, another edition of our program here on this wonderful Friday. And it happens to be the 23rd day of September, AD 2022, wherever you find yourself. That's how I'd like to welcome you from the heart of Brooklyn Center here in Minnesota. And as you know, Diaspora Talk comes your way every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at about 12 midday. But today is way almost like we just had to come on and not keep the space off because we know exactly that, when we get to miss out, it becomes a problem with our viewers. So we'll be running for a short period of time today. A lot of adjustment, a lot of work being done behind the scene, making sure we can bring you just the very best that we have to offer when it comes to audio-visual production here from KMTV. And without much ado, let me welcome my colleague Nathan Charles. We are both here on this edition. What's up, my man?
It's a beautiful rainy day, 23rd September, a day after President George we addressed the nation, looking at issues. So Facebook is trending with a couple of things in Liberia.
A lot of feedbacks.
Country is at a stage of confusion right now. Our staple food, rice. Fire disaster, rendering several persons homeless in the Peninsula community. So there are a whole lot of issues unfolding. Opposition are now criticizing President George Weah's speech. They didn't really meet the actual happiness in Liberia. So there are a whole lot of things.
Yeah, and I tell you, and I don't know whether there was, an opposition togetherness response to the president's message at the General Assembly yesterday. I know there are individual, responses, people attacking it from different standpoints. But it is what it is. Liberia will always be that way. And I don't know whether you want to recap some of the major points from the president's speech yesterday.
Just offhand, not looking at the speech, President George Weah, as you know, mounted the pulpit at the UN.
The podium, that is.
But he's a
anyway,
pastor.
He's a pastor, but for the sake of the record, the podium was not the pulpit. Maybe he would do the pulpit when he returns the first Sunday when he returns.
Yes, he spoke basically talking about the war in Ukraine, looking at how the war is faced with challenges. Inflation rate has increased. He went on by talking about the theme of the conference, looking at climate change, economic development, issue of gender equality, promoting women, and telling the world what Liberia is doing, right, in promoting these issues. He lauded the ECOWAS and other partners for their support towards building, empowering Liberian women and giving them microloans. President Weah also spoke about female genital mutilation and harmful practices, traditional practices in Liberia that they are battling. They are working with partners in mitigating that. He went on to talking about elections in 2023. As you know, presidential and legislative election is set. President Weah said the peace in Liberia depends on all Liberians. People should expect and respect, rather, the views and aspiration and decision of the Liberian people after election. That was another thing he stressed clearly, and he committed his government to protecting the democratic peace in Liberia, and said that he will accept the result too. President Weah also spoke about the IMF initial response or report to his government in fighting grave corruption. He also said that gains are being made. They are positive sound. That's the word he used. They are positive sign of development in terms of fighting the processes leading to fighting corruption, legislation enacted. So these are some of the things he spoke about. And President Weah also talked about the issue of climate change. As you know, climate change is part of the was part of the team or is part of the team for this year's 77 convention. He showed that his government will protect climate change on the international scene on peace and security. He said there is no political prisoner in his country. Freedom of speech. He has helped.
Which is by far on the records to be true.
Yeah, he has revamped the justice system in Liberia. There's gains made. Then he said our security apparatus, the AFL, is contributing towards peace mission in Mali. So these are some of the issues President Weah spoke about.
And the issue of peace and security, we hope to have the Army Chief with us on Monday. How you call him? Prince Charles Johnson.
You got to put him in title,
Major General Prince Charles Johnson has agreed to join us on Monday, so we will have. He's our good friend. I mean, I still got your coin in the bag gable. I still got your coin. Monday when we have him on Monday, you know, I know you've been away for a long time, but when we have him on Monday, I will bring both of the coins because there were two that he gave, you know, as a means of, you know, appreciating us during the COVID fight, what we did to sensitize and educate the public. So I still got those coins. I'm going to bring them.
You mean sensitize?
Sensitization. But on the other side, the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas, ALJA, is going to convention next weekend, and it's going to be there in Worcester, Massachusetts. We are glad to have with us Mr. Joe Mason. Joe is the national president of ALJA. He's agreed to join us and talk about, you know, preparation so far. We thought not to do the show, but because of, you know, when national president called and said, man, we got some updates. We had to do it. And joining us via phone right now is Joe Mason. Joe, welcome.
Thank you, Cyrus. Thank you, Nathan. Appreciate you guys having us on to provide additional updates about our convention coming up here next week. Thank you all so much.
It's wonderful having you, and I know you've had some sleepless night in making sure this can happen.
Yeah, our convention obviously is the biggest event of the year when it comes to our association. So a lot goes into the planning for this event. You know, number of different speakers, different events taking place over the weekend. You know, we are a professional organization, and our conventions normally involves a lot because we want people coming away from the convention feeling that they've achieved something. So yes, a lot of hard work, but we're hopeful that it will pay off come next weekend.
So, Mr. President, tell us, where are we? I know there is a new update out there as it relates to the lineup for the convention with just a little over a week, or with less than a week, because it starts Thursday, right?
Correct. We start on Thursday with the official arrival in Worcester, Massachusetts. There will be a tour of the city. Normally, when we do get to these different locations where we host our conventions, we like to get a feel of the city. And so that we will do that when we arrive. And then later on in the evening, there will be a reception for the arriving delegates to be hosted by one of our members at his home that evening, and we'll be there. And so we're looking forward to that as well. You talk about update. Yes, there is an additional update. We're excited that Grand Bassa County Senator Nyobli Kanga Lawrence will be joining the convention this year for the first time. She will address the General Assembly on Saturday morning, Saturday being the 1st of October, and then she will make special remarks at our fundraising banquet later on that evening on the date of the 1st of October. We're still excited that Anthony Samuel Kofi Woods will deliver the keynote address. We're looking forward to his remarks as well. I know we talked briefly about him the last time I appeared on Diaspora Talk. He brings a lot of credibility to the topic we're discussing this year, and that is sustaining Liberia's democracy now and in the future, the media and the 2023 general elections. There are two things. I listened to the president yesterday when he delivered his remarks at the UNGA, and we're excited. I think he reassured the UNGA and Liberians and the world, and generally, that Liberians can be assured of free and fair elections. And I think that's the part of it because that is what we all want. And that is exactly why our focus this year is on sustaining Liberia's democracy because our country has had a checkered history when it comes to holding free, fair, and transparent elections. You can argue that our failure to do so was one of the reasons why we ended up with the crisis that we ended up with for the many years that Liberia went through the civil war. Uh, Post civil crisis, there have been, uh, you know, fairly, held elections which you can describe as free, fair, and transparent. There was the election of 2000 and was that 2000 and remind me guys
The 2017 elections?
the 2017 elections and the 2011 elections and then the
2020.
elections the elections prior to that. So we've had pretty successful elections. The last three elections, we can consider them pretty successful. The goal really is, in our expectation as an organization, and I believe that is the expectation of the Liberian people, is that we continue to build upon the gains, the democratic gains we've made over the last three successive elections. You can even count the by-elections in that as well. By all accounts, they were considered free, fair, and transparent. We want to ensure that that will be the case going forward. And so that is why our focus is on sustaining Liberian democracy now in the future. So we're excited that Senator Kanga will join us. Attorney Samuel Kopi Rose will be our guest speaker. And then there will be a panel discussion on Friday that specifically addresses the issue of political participation of women in the electoral process. We want to talk about the challenges they go through, because again, like I mentioned, show women constitute a significant percentage of the voting population in the country. We want to talk about the challenges they face and how to overcome those challenges. So, come elections next year and subsequent elections, the women are fully involved to an extent that they're making an impact. And for that part of the discussion, we're excited that former presidential candidate, Madam Magdala Cooper, will be one of our panelists, as well as senatorial aspirant, Edith Gonglo Ware. She contested twice for the senatorial position in Nema County. She will be one of our panelists as well. And the executive director of Local Voices Liberia Media Network, Dafa Segini, will be on as well. The reason why Dafa will be on is because his organization has done a lot of work when it comes to investigating some of the issues around our elections. So we believe he will be a huge asset to our discussion. So that is some of the activities we got planned. That's some of the updates we have, and we just wanted to pass that on to the listeners and the viewers as well.
Now, Mr. President, you talked largely about President Weah's address yesterday to the General Assembly of the United Nations, and he talked about peace and security and the need of recommitting to a peaceful election in Liberia. Where do you think the media stand as it relates to achieving this in 2023?
The media was important. I cannot overemphasize that enough, rather, because again, we are the watchdogs of society, and we need to ensure that we're holding the government, we're holding the president to his word, we're holding the Elections Commission, which is the umpire in this process. We're holding them to everything they will be doing prior to and into the elections itself. So that way, people can have credibility in the process. So that when the results are finally announced, people can come away saying, yes, these elections were free, they were fair, and they were transparent. And then we accept the results and live on. The winner gets to be the winner, and again, we expect that the winners will be really magnanimous in victory. But again, we expect that the losers will concede, and we'll have a peaceful election.
Sustaining Liberia's democracy. Looking at the media work in Liberia, it is alleged that most media institutions have been in the pockets of those who sponsor them. What will you do as ALJA to help strengthen the media, make them financially, mentally, professionally capacitated?
You know, what we try to do is continue to partner with the PL. Mayu, the press union is the mother organization. They are the organization on the ground in Liberia. So whatever we do is to work in concert with them to make sure that whether it is, ensuring that some collective bargaining agreement is arrived at between, media institutions and journalists, so that journalists are paid a fair wage and they're able to, sustain themselves and sustain the families because we can all agree that, journalists are some of the least paid individuals in the country. And if that continues to be the case, it compromises the ability to be fair, to be ethical, and to be independent. So we'll continue to work with the PL. We'll continue to ensure that, at least from our end, continue to provide training, build up the capacity to the extent that we can continue to help with logistical support for media institutions. We'll continue to do that because I think overall, our goal, and that is the goal of the PL as well, is to ensure that the media is independent because the more independent the media is, the stronger our democracy is. So that is something we'll continue to work towards.
So let's look at ALJA own involvement, having these conferences, bringing together people. I know one would say it is just a meet and greet event. Do we see any tangible results from these speaking engagement conferences, meetings of ALJA members in Liberia?
Yeah, that is the expectation. When we do meet, we're really careful in terms of who we select. We're careful in terms of the topic we select because we want it to not just be an event where we meet, you greet, and make merry, but it is an event where we're talking substantive issues that matter to the country. We're talking issues that will benefit the larger population. We're talking issues that will ensure the continuity of peace and security in our country. So that's what we'll be doing. And again, like I said, the speakers we're bringing to speak the folks who are knowledgeable about the topics that we'll be discussing, folks who are respected, And so at the end of the day, we hope that they will provide food for thought that will benefit the larger population.
Now, Mr. President, let's look at this convention coming on the back of the second term of Joe Mason coming to an end. I know a lot of time leaders will look back and say, "I'm leaving an organization in this state." I've done my best. I've done this. If you have to look back, what are some of those gains probably you will want to count at this year's convention under your leadership?
Yeah, so when I took over, 3 years ago, running to my phobia now, um, Alja, thankfully, my predecessor, Moses Sandy, who I worked with as vice president, had done a really good job of ensuring that Alja had gained that prominence, that respectability that it needed to be able to do some of the things we're doing right now. Because mind you, Alja, beginning in 1998, because of internal rift, it crumbled in 2001. And so when we picked it up again in 2004, there was a lot of work that we needed to put in initially. I remember there were conventions when we literally had to loan money to the organization to host conventions. So it tells you how far we've come, as an organization. Right now, we've gone beyond our point, and what we're doing right now is trying to sustain some of the gains we've made. For the first time, we now have the Georgia Memorial Scholarship that benefits students at the Mass Communications Department at the University of Liberia. The goal is to continue to increase the number of students on that scholarship. Um, this year also, we donated perhaps the biggest yet in terms of dollars to the media in Liberia. About 11 media institutions benefited from other donations, computers and macro recorders. And we also obviously continue to provide logistical training capacity building workshop and training for journalists in Liberia. So we will continue to do those things. And I'm excited that people are now are looking at ALJA as that organization, that is continuing to make a difference in the lives of our colleagues in Liberia. We're also being intentional because one of the things I say to people, our focus is in Liberia. Granted, our goal is to be able to impact the media in Liberia. But we do live here in the United States. We need to be so ingrained in the society here that we can make an impact as well. We need to begin to build relationships, whether it is with local government or state government, so that way we are providing service in this environment as well. And one of the things I was really pleased about is the fact that during the COVID, ALJA was able to partner with the Minnesota Department of Health, and we hosted COVID clinics that benefited, hundreds of hundreds, of citizens here in the state, citizens and residents here in the state of Minnesota. That is something we need to continue to do as an organization because I believe we can be impactful here in terms of where we live, where we reside, while doing the same in Liberia as well. So that is something I'm excited about, and I'm hoping that not here, only here in Minnesota, but in other states where ALJA have chapters, whether it's in the East Coast, whether it's New England, we can continue to make a difference in the communities in which we live as well. The other things we've gone through is to be intentional about building relationships with our colleges and universities to be able to benefit our colleagues in Liberia. We have a wonderful relationship with the University of Minnesota, the School of Communications over there. We are going to Worcester this year, and thankfully, we've been able to engage the leadership at Assumption University. It's a really large Catholic university in Worcester. We have we'll be having discussions with the leadership of the institution there with the goal of seeing how we can partner together to ultimately benefit our colleagues in Liberia. So those are the things we're doing, and we hope we can continue to build upon those things so that way ALJA gets stronger, ALJA becomes better, ALJA becomes more impactful.
So in a nutshell, what can you say you're gonna see ALJA as in the next few years? After your tenure, next year is election year. What do you look for? I mean, going forward in the years to come.
Yeah, and like I said, we've made progress from where we were 8-7 years ago. Right now, I'm really excited about where ALJA is because I think we are on solid footing as an organization. I don't think we can go back to those era where we are loaning money to ALJA to host conventions. I think we've gone beyond that. I think our assistance to our colleagues in Liberia can only increase. I'm looking forward to us holding, more workshops, more training that build the capacity, the professional capacity of our colleagues. I'm looking at us to be more intentional in terms of assisting leader institutions in the country with the support that they need. I'm looking at us at some point in the future securing scholarships for deserving mass communication students in Liberia so that they can come to the United States and be able to study, or they can travel elsewhere, where ALJA is able to secure support, which is why I think just the partnership, the relationship that we're building with these universities and colleges, I'm hoping will use dividend, in the next year or so. So those are things we're looking at because I think people look up to ALJA, especially our colleagues in Liberia. They look up to ALJA as that organization that should be able to make a difference, and I think we're doing that, but we can do even more.
So, Mr. Mason, I'm concerned. What's your relationship with duty bearers in Liberia? Because if you're talking about protecting peace, letting the voices of ordinary to be heard in Liberia, are you also having that relationship with duty bearers? And what work have been done so far?
Duty bearers, you mean?
Government officials, those that are responsible to care for the society.
Yeah, look, talk to folks in the government, and they do have respect for ALJA, and I think it's mutual as well. We understand that the government, has a responsibility to do what they need to do. They have their role to play. We have our role to play. Every year when we host these conventions, we have folks from the government represent the government, and I think that's a good thing. We need to have these discussions back and forth, as much as, there are times we will disagree with the government, and when we do disagree, we will speak out publicly because we're in the advocacy business. But I'm hopeful that the government will continue to understand our role, as an advocacy organization, because, our goal is to make sure that they're doing the right thing. Our goal is to make sure that they're providing the basic services they need to provide for the people, that, the respecting freedom of speech, freedom of the press, that the rule of law is upheld, that good governance is the order of the day. As long as they continue to do those things, we should have no problem. But the government is the government. It's always been this push and pull between the government and organizations such as ALJA. But at the end of the day, we're hopeful that it's done in a way that is respectful. They understand, what our responsibilities are. We understand what their responsibilities are. At the end of the day, I think there's mutual respect. It's been that way now for the last few years. Prior to my administration, which is why the government most times responds favorably to our invitation. The government spokesperson, the Minister of Information, will most times, attend our convention. I'm good friends with the former ambassador, unfortunately, who was just recalled, Ambassador Parton. We're good friends. He's been at our conventions numerous times. So I think that's healthy. That's a healthy relationship between ALJA and the government, and we hope that will be the case going forward.
With that, Mr. President, can you confirm whether there is anybody representing the government at this year's convention and who that person may be, if you may?
At the moment, I cannot confirm because it's a tradition for ALJA now when we do host our conventions to send a formal invitation to the government official spokesperson, and that is the Minister of Information. We did that. The minister acknowledged our invitation. He did say that he will respond to let us know whether he will be at the convention or not. We have not gotten any formal notice to that effect. But the good thing is, whenever we host our conventions, it is around the UNGA, it is around the United Nations General Assembly. And right now, there are dozens of governments, officials in the United States, and they will be here when we host our convention. So we're hopeful that either the minister or someone representing the government will be in Worcester.
And what's the euphoria so far amongst members of ALJA as the days get closer by the day? What are you hearing from Worcester and other chapters? As it relates to this year's convention.
That's the segment, man. It's ALJA. One of the things we emphasize is camaraderie amongst the membership, and that is important because without that bond that hold us together, it will be difficult for us to achieve the things we want to achieve. So this convention offer us the opportunity to just get together and hang out and joke amongst ourselves, recall some of the old media stories when we practice in the country. So that camaraderie I think it's important. And again, I just want to add, and I'm excited about this, but there will be a few of our colleagues who will be joining us this year. Unfortunately, when I say joining us from Liberia,
okay,
that was not the case last year and the year before because of COVID. So for the first time, we'll have a few of them joining us, and I'm really, really looking forward to that as well. But generally, people are excited about the convention. For the first time, we'll have a soccer match with the Worcester Old Timers. I'm looking forward to that as well. People talk about, a lot of people have talked about the soccer powers, in ALJA. Everybody can play, but this will be an opportunity for us to see who really can play, when we're meeting Worcester. So
the I can play people we're going to see who are those that will be showing.
yeah, and if
showing
you're
up.
looking at travel, people are buying expensive soccer cleats, and somebody said their cleat costs $300. We'll see how well they put it to use.
And we're going to check the convention payment records.
Exactly, precisely. It's good thing you mentioned that because for you to make the team, I'll have that list and make sure your name is checked off before you get your jersey.
All right, Mr. President, and your people listening to you, Liberians are listening to you. By far, ALJA remains one of the strongest voices in the diaspora as it relates to things in Liberia. And what message will you want to send out to Liberians? What reassurance can you give from what is your leadership of or ALJA generally? And what call will you want to send out to your members directly as you get closer to your convention?
Yeah, look, first thing, and I want to acknowledge those who were the pioneers of this organization, the Isaac Bantus, the Gabriel Williams, the Kenneth Bez, and the list goes on, the Octavius Obi, and the list goes on and on and on and on. It is upon their shoulders that we are continuing to move this association forward. I think they came to the United States, realized that this concept of an organization that was going to be an advocacy organization, but still, reaching out to make a difference in the lives of our colleagues in Liberia was important. And we want to thank them. Let me just say this also. One of the things we will do in Worcester when we are there next weekend is to recognize the efforts and the pioneering role of the likes of Isaac Bantu and Gabriel Williams and one or two others who will honor, will honor not just for their pioneering role in ALJA, but also for their role in the media. We'll do that because I think too often people don't get the just due when they're alive. We want to be able to appreciate them, give them the flowers while they are alive, and that is an important thing. And we want to continue to build upon that legacy, as an organization, and ensure that we're continuing to grow from strength to strength, and making sure that we're sourcing support that will benefit our colleagues, and making sure that ALJA's voice, as a powerful voice in the diaspora, will continue to be heard when it comes to issues that matter to the country, when it comes to issues that will sustain our democracy. And so that voice will continue to be loud, will continue to be impactful in the lives of our colleagues. And I know, in the last year, we'll continue to work as hard as we can to continue to sustain the gains we've made. But more importantly, to ensure that whoever takes over after me will have an organization that is on an upward trajectory.
I mean, are you getting us? I was asking
Yes,
whether you
yes.
have a special message for your people as well as we get closer to the convention.
Yeah, so for my ALJA folks, again, I couldn't be more proud to serve as the president. I mean, we just have some awesome group of people who constitute the membership of ALJA. I want to thank you for your continued support to this administration over the last 3 years that I've been president now. I'm looking forward to you all showing up in Worcester so that we'll continue to discuss the future of our organization. So thank you all so much, and let's meet in Worcester next weekend to chart a new course for ALJA.
Joe Mason, people, he's the national president of the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas, ALJA, speaking to us there with just less than a week to their convention, which takes place in Worcester, Massachusetts. Mr. President, we say thanks so much for taking off your time, and thanks for your service to your people in the media community, and we hope to catch up and bring the folks what's going to be happening from Worcester, Massachusetts.
Thank you so much, Cyrus. Thank you, Nathan. Thanks for giving us again an opportunity to talk about our organization on Diaspora Talk, and we look forward again to coming on when it's a need to provide additional information. Thank you all so much.
All right. Thank you so much, and have a good weekend.
You as well.
All right. You listen to the national president of the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas, and Nathan, you heard him just right.
Yes, ALJA serving as the voice in Liberia, helping to empower Liberian media, talking to duty bearers, inviting stakeholders and media journalists who are doing extremely well in Liberia. You heard him making mention of Sapeni from Local Voice. That network has been very much instrumental in educating, promoting, mentoring. Let me use the word mentoring Liberian journalists, not only in Monrovia, but in rural areas, telling the untold stories. As a media practitioner, the best thing we do is giving voice to the voiceless, meaning that once you can tell the story of that person in Bulukonjide, or that person in Zozo, in Fosima, you can go to Maryland, in Galloway, Grand Creek County, telling that story from what we've been seeing from local voice is that we have been seeing real story that revealed reveal the life of people there in Riverside
Somebody said
County.
choosing.
Yes, stuff like that. So they are very much instrumental. How they can help really educate ALJA member here. We as ALJA, like Joe said, it is not just a merry-making fun, fun meeting. People come together and
It's
discuss
serious
serious
deliberation.
deliberation. But the sad aspect of that is, up to this time, it's just a week, a few days, and official from the Liberian government, the information minister has not officially communicated with the leadership.
But at least the records are there that you are invited, whether you show up or not. It's been a tradition, like he put it. They will invite people to speak. And when these people speak, government officials, like in the past, we had the ambassador, you had the immediate past information minister, the current information minister. They all spoke at the last few conventions. You had the press secretary he spoke at the one that was in Minnesota lastly, right? Yes, Solo Kekwe. And so it's like the page is open, and we hope that they can just appear and kind of. But you say
we have a lot of female speakers.
Yeah, especially the whole 30% and women inclusion in government, in electioneering, and those are powerful women. Senator Yombly Kanga Lawrence, Mandela Cooper, those are people that are very, very, very powerful women. And like Joe put it, they will be coming to say what they think should happen for Liberia, what should happen, what should be done. I know they're gonna be playing the female cast so bad, so that people and like the women of Liberia nowadays, they are not like begging for sympathy anymore. They are taking the bull by the horns in these instances when it comes to national leadership.
It is important that we give them the space. For too long, we have held them backward. So it is important that we push them. And like I'm saying, if you educate a woman, you educate a nation.
Yeah.
So giving them that voice, there are a lot of things that women see or sense. We men, we don't. And they will also push the agenda. You're talking about family planning, right? You're talking about family, growing that family. We men, you need a woman to tell you.
We just get there, and the patience they carry, like somebody from the old would say, the patience of Joe. That's what they carry. But in as much as we set the stage, the world is still looking for women that are competent, that are qualified, educated. So
Lena Thomas great.
yeah, the football.
Condoleezza Rice.
Condoleezza Rice. Yeah.
Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. I can name them. Yvette Chelsea Ray.
Yep.
I can name you Lehman Bowie. These are people with words. And one thing that once Lehman Bowie posts, I always go reading her.
You follow her, and
full of wisdom,
well articulate, and as a matter of fact, she's a former Nobel laureate. She shared the stage with Madame Sirleaf, so she fought for peace for Liberia, led the women on several instances. We hope we can get Lema on sometime soon. We'll try to reach out to her. As election is coming on, these are voices that people want to listen to. The contribution of women, during electionary period. There were some rumors that, maybe Lema might go as running mate to somebody, but the fee is still open with 13 months to go. A lot of things will take place in Liberia before the election is officially called in or set up. I know that for sure.
I hope we can have a lot of females too in the media, because if females are in the media too, they'll be able to tell the stories of ordinary people of how things are going on. Like if you follow May Azanko from Front Page Africa in the new narrative, Wade Williams formerly of Front Page Africa. What her name? TC Bori. So these are all powerful females. So that conference too of ALJA will also help reawaken, telling them on those Presidia. Her names?
Yeah.
So you have a lot of them who are in ALJA, and they can also help mentor the young ones who are coming out. So it is important that journalists, though you are in America, let's attend that conference. Let's
take advantage of it,
and proffer ideas, and make sure that the best can come up from the
put
put
a
a lot of overtime to get out there. Well, you said one thing. You said we should continue to tell the story. Did you see the story of Archie Pompon?
Not really.
Yeah, but he was trying to explain to the public why he did what he did.
He burned himself.
And why he set himself
Himself on
ablaze,
fire.
and he was trying to prove a point to the Chief Justice, who's now retiring, Francis Copper. I got that. I thought that we should kind of play it. I mean, sorry to the public there for what the scene may look like, but this is exactly what Archie felt and why he did what he did. We can listen to his own explanation.
Now, for any kind of a motive, with any kind of a intent, we say about 2 days to get there. What happened was very simple. We succeeded in the protest. The protest, the final minister, Mr. 12, called me, talked to me. He said, I did the protest. They make available. Listen to the story. Don't ask me questions. Why again? They make 3 months available in a bank. So everybody jubilated this and that. Then came the Chief Justice, Francis Copper, who said that the grounds of the judiciary were not placed. People should put there for any other reason. He wanted to prove a point to me that he was subduing. Now, he know it wanted to subdue me. The first thing I know, my grandma told me what I did at the age of 3, just said 2. It was my birthday, which of course I born August 7. She said she wanted to cook, I know, those are who come from Maryland. There's some of they big wrap, they call it tabadu. They can try, open it up. She said she was going to give me the heat. Then my cousin, I just come from Moravia, and she loved my cousin more than, people are, biased too. Love is biased. Yeah. So she went to get him, I saw it, I raised, I started crying. So she tried to think that she can control me. I didn't cry until my grandpa came. My grandma told me, I told my grandpa, she said she was going to give me the thing, she gave me, she gave it. So my grandma, she said, she beat me up, I refused to eat it. So from that time, my grandma said, I've never been to the hospital. Like what she said, boy, I'll be son of home. And my grandma said, end up when what I did it all. Then my dad refused my own food. So hunger strike, the story, and this and that, right? Fred, Wendy, all the one happened. Still, the nation did not know that Achipomo can do anything again. Yeah. But look at my history. Hunger strike. That one went look. Hunger for you the first day, you can bear it. You can manage it. The second day, look, the testing can start. Then the people get dry. They wanted to end up at 10 to 12, I was finished. And luckily for me, one guy that I got it, when I started talking to her, I said, actually, you don't look good. I call Kevin Jemmy announced it. And right in town, the ambulance came. I got sick. Anyway, so that what happened. So when they issue on the thing, the Chief Justice said, everybody started calling me. Have you seen a full crash? 12,000 were going to say, actually, they come against me, so if you're trying to put that to you. I said, no, we can't do it. It is going to find a means of people. Then they said, they get ready for you to arrest you and all they kind of things. So I said, Chief Justice, can't do it. I said, I'm going to see, but we want to go and see. I already prepared. What will happen will happen. So when I went there for 2 days for the break, you saw the video, right? Yeah. So it was the break that provoked me now to say, but the Chief Justice said, I don't think he's thinking the way I think to say, oh, the way they put people, everybody go by the way. Now, because now you feel, we engage in the government through you, because if you read Article 37 of the American Constitution, say, but you must petition your representative. Where am I working? Judiciary. Who my representative in the government? That Chief Justice, who's your petition? He, right? Then the government said, we get where? Then you won't make it personal. Say you won't make it personal, make it personal between you and myself. Because if the teacher they put you in team, who the law will go say for you? Nobody. So the teacher them myself, right? So we'll go there. So what do it? So anything you want to keep me in jail, what will happen when that happens? So I'm not even thinking about jail. I just want to prove a point. Say you want to prove a point. That's what I'll prove a point. Who can we pick up? What's up? And I tell them myself, nobody. Anyone understand? Right now.
You heard him right there, Nathan. He was trying to prove a point to the Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia. What do you make of that?
The essence of a protest is to prove a point. So people who carry on such a protest, they just want to, because they cannot hit you physically, they just want to prove a point. It takes a man to help change society. We've all listened to protesters, right? The issue with Martin Luther King, and so these are people who help move and shake up mountains. So everyone who protesting just want to prove a point. His point was clear. So because of that, there was some reform. So once you protest and there is reform, you are successful. We don't look at the consequences, right? Of you who probably, like you say, you suffer hunger for 4 days. The idea, once your views or your aspiration is achieved, that's what matters most. So for him, the protest was successful. So he still lived with the scars, but
he said he don't care. He don't care about how people will think about him. It's his Chief Justice that will remain embarrassed, and he's vowing to always embarrass the Chief Justice. Is that because for each time he sees Spain, it's an embarrassment to him? You think so?
Yes, because he still lives within the society. As you know, he will move around, keep telling the story, so it will be like in the minds, in the hearts of Liberians. And he's the first person, to my knowledge, who have done such a grave protest.
The first Liberian, put it that way, because other people would, but other people would say, yeah, there are other people who probably, maybe he might have borrowed it from somewhere else, but that's it right there. And Archie Pompon, he was very, very brave indeed. Brave to the point where he had to prove according to him, he had to prove to the Chief Justice that, I can do this. And actually he did what he did
without any regret. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be wrapping it up on this edition of Diaspora Talk. But there is a trending video on Facebook with President George Weah. I don't know whether we're going to leave you with that one. After his speech yesterday, there's a trending video that just hit the internet 30 minutes ago. He's actually in New York at his home, where he said he's not been for 4 years now, and having some time with a dog. So we're gonna leave you with that as we wrap it up on this edition.
Is the UN General Assembly over for him to go and have
well, I think it's like my piece is over, and whatever it is right now is like time off. So we're gonna play the video and leave it with the Liberian people. It's a very, very short one indeed. Talking about when he returns to the country. I believe it's the 26th he's returning to the country, because as I understand, he's on his way back for the official induction of the new Chief Justice, Sienna Yo. So he's going back to have her inducted. But on this note, we'd like to wrap it up on Diaspora's Talk. I don't know whether you have any final words.
A lot of things happening, like Liberia fire disaster. Looking at the president's message, we have yet to have any rebuttal from opposition leaders, and the issue of peace, security, and media reform. Joe Mason spoke about ALJA convention. Journalists, if you're listening to us, let's go to our convention in Boston.
That's Worcester, Massachusetts.
Okay, so let's attend our convention and keep doing all the work journalists in Liberia are doing, telling the untold stories. That's why we have passion for. That's why we sacrifice our friendship, our relationship, just to get this job doing. So we as KMTV, as you saw, we came on the air a few minutes late, but we have national duty to tell the stories, to allow the voice of ordinary people to be heard and to inform the Liberian community. So if you are in the Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center, our office is located at
5901, bro. 5901 Brooklyn Boulevard.
This guy, man. 5901 Brooklyn Boulevard, Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, 55429. Just walk in here. Let's do business. We can help you sell your goods and services right here on our network. So until Monday, when we catch you on another edition of Diaspora Talk, I'd like to say have yourself a wonderful time from here. Don't be on airboat. If you are drinking, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Play safe and let God be with you as we leave you. Until then, let's play this video. It's like 34 seconds of President Weah and his dog just after the UN General Assembly. He said, sometime all with a dog. Let's play you this.
This is right here. 4 years. Love you. Oh, back home. Well, good to be back home. You see all the cops there. They brought me home. I'm here. So those that said I'm fine, yes, a United Nations building. You are wrong. I'm a citizen of the world. Skin home. Tomorrow I'll be leaving for Liberia. Mission.
When the issues of Liberia hit the news,
What is it that we, the Liberian people, want?
the Liberian communities in the diasporas are not left out. That's why Diaspora's Talk is back on your screens on KMTV.
In fact, the Unity Party is not cohesive.
We get social, political, economic, and other issues affecting Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
I did not expect to even make it to Hollywood.
Joan Cyrus McGee and Nathan Charles every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, live on KMTV, Facebook, and YouTube.
I want to be arrested in the midst of my people.
As they discuss the issues, blend the voices from Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
And speak the truth on what is happening.
For sponsorship, call cell numbers 612-806-5896, 816-433-3979, or better still, email us at usakmtv@gmail.com. Diaspora Talk, don't miss it.